public service announcement from the Working Perspectives podcast.
What a waste of money that is. Buying a girl a drink, the biggest waste of money you will ever do is buying a girl a drink. Agreed, Bern?
Oh, I can't even imagine how much cash I set on. Could have just set on fire.
Yes.
And gotten the exact same result.
You would have been better lighting on fire and snorting the ashes than buying a girl a drink, dude.
I'd be better lighting
Absolutely.
the cash on fire and then throwing the burning bill at the girl. Like, she might have found me more interesting. You know, it would have at least been a conversation piece.
Well, hello to all the retorts out there. Let's end the year with a bang, daddy. We got a great one for you today. We're debating something that we've all done and we've all shared and we've all had a part in. It's going to be a lot of fun. Please make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. Let's take back that algorithm. And as always, enjoy the show, daddy.
Trying to get that New Year's kiss, the kiss when the ball drops, right? Like, that's an adventure in itself, dude. That is a time, that's an adventure, and that's like, I mean, you know, it's kind of fun. It is.
Start off my new year feeling like absolute hammered shit.
My game was fucking tight, Daddy. Daddy's game was
I remember 2011, 2012 fighting full time, Maddie. I remember. Listen, I know what you were doing back then, and I'm going to say, he's not lying.
You know, she took my virginity. It was great. Yeah.
Oh, what a hero. What a gal.
She was also part of the trauma, though. So she had some to do. You know what I mean?
Sure. I'm like, hey, I'm divorced, you're divorced. I got kids, you got kids. This whole thing seemed impossible anyway. Let's throw a bunch of X's and kids in there.
If you could kiss your own dick, you have never left the house any day, not even New Year. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Working Perspectives podcast presents Ask AI. I'm Matt Lavelle, coming by the one and only Bern podcast. On this show, we're going to be asking AI the hard-hitting questions and seeing if AI truly has all the answers. There's no question too crazy, no inquiry too outrageous, and no query too queen. We're here to prove that you can have great questions without great answers. And AI may have all the answers, but we'll see if you can answer these questions. If you're interested, send us some questions to debate. One person has, and it was incredible, and we did it, and it's awesome, and we love her. Thank you, Miss Metal. But if you want to send us something, comment on this episode, or, you know, message us on all podcast platforms and YouTube, Work Perspectives Podcast. Please remember to check out all our shows. We air Tuesdays, 8 a.m. Eastern Time, and Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Work Perspectives Podcast. But today's question is thus: what's better for New Year's? Going out or staying in? You let us know. Enjoy the shizzo, Daddy.
Well, is it house party, pants party, or no party, baby?
All right, Benoit Pahoud, we're here, we're ready, we're going to talk about it. So we got a good one to debate today. I'll tell you this, right? When it comes to New Year's Eve, the holiday of the people, as they call it. New Year's Eve, family fun and adventure always. What's going on is that my wife is Albanian, and so am I. Now, I've been adopted by the Albanian culture. It was a great ceremony, and I'm truly proud to consider myself Shqiptar American. Shout out to all my Albanian brothers out there fighting the good fight. But either way, in Albania, the big holiday for them, I would say in America, the big holiday is Christmas, right? That's the biggest holiday of the year. In Albania, the biggest holiday of the year is New Year's, and for them, that's when you give out gifts and presents is New Year's, right? So everyone of all ages stays up all night till the ball drops, right? And as soon as the ball drops, you give out your presents to everybody. It's a pretty cool tradition, right? Big fan, really big fan. So for me now, like it's a big shindig, right? Like it is a big party for the
Sure.
Albanian culture. Like we went to, I think we went to my brother-in-law's last year, and before that we would go to her parents' house and they would have a big thing. And then even before, like, but before, like, she always also wants to host sometimes, but we're not doing that. So, but before that, dude, I was partying at the bars or hitting the club or hitting a house party or something like that. I was not a stay in guy, right? Bern, what about you?
See, I have a slightly different take on New Year's, in that,
Take me, daddy,
you
take
know,
me all the
for
way.
for a lot of years, I would be out on New Year's, but only by nature of working in the restaurant bar business.
Yeah.
So I developed a real kind of like, I mean, I get it, I get why everybody's out there, but man, I saw so many fucking amateurs and
Amateur
so
hour.
many people
Totally.
who
Yeah.
like aren't usually involved in that scene go out, get too drunk, nights get ruined,
Hmm.
customers are sloppy. It just I developed a real antipathy towards like the going out crowd on New Year's. So
Yeah.
especially even before I got married, once I kind of settled down, I became a stay-at-home New Year's guy. And I
Yeah.
got to tell you, really enjoyed it. Really, I was never mad. I was
Yeah.
never mad that I wasn't out amidst all of that chaos.
Dude.
So I'm
Yeah.
more of a stay-in guy by nature, and I think New Year's was like an obvious no-brainer of like, there's no way I'm going out and dealing with all
Man, you are right. Amateur hour is very true, right? And I'll tell you, it's one of those nights like Halloween, St. Patrick's Day, New Year's, night before Thanksgiving, like all of those like are nights that I've gone out and I've legit had the thought of like I would so much rather be working right now than partying, right? And that is a common thought I've had on New Year's, but it is amateur hour, daddy. It is a lot of BS, right? But it's also a lot of fun. Like a lot of craziness gets up. But one of my favorite things about going out to a party on New Year's, daddy, and I don't know if you'll be down with this, but finding that New Year's kiss, right? Like if you're lucky, if you're maybe single or kind of seeing someone or what's going down, trying to get that New Year's kiss, the kiss when the ball drops, right? Like that's an adventure in itself, dude. That is a time, that's an adventure, and that's like, I mean, it's kind of fun. It is.
that. Yeah, I mean, sure, I can see that, and I do remember those days, and then I remember taking them for granted, and now I'll be
You'll
back
be
in the
kissing your
saddle.
own dick.
If I could, I'd definitely never leave the house.
If you could kiss your own dick, you have never left the house any day, not even New Year's.
Of staying home on New Year's is solidified. Self kissing dicks.
Yeah.
Um, here's okay. So yeah, I get like the adventure and the excitement and like, ooh, something new. Like it's in the title, what's gonna happen. Here are some of my beats though, and
Okay. Talk
just
to
off
me.
the top of my head, going right. It's more expensive for the exact same service you get the day before or the day after, right? Like bars will have
There's
covers.
a
The
cover.
the
Yeah.
cover's always higher, or if you're in a big
Yeah.
city, there's a minimum. You're paying
Oh my
$70
God.
to get in. You get three
Yeah.
drink tickets at a bar that normally they might have a $10 cover, and you just go and drink.
Yeah.
Um, and like as far as going out to dinner goes, everyone tries to church it up. So you have one of your favorite restaurants, but now that night they have a price fixed menu and it's $80 a person. And here's your appetizer, and here's your entree, and here's your dessert. And you're like, but no, I like to get the stuff that I like to get here. That's why I like to come here. So one
Yeah.
of my knocks on going out on New Year's is I feel like it's a little pricey and a little complicated for a service that I could get on December 30th or January 2nd. You know what I mean? And probably enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I have trouble with that comparison. So that's one of my knocks
Uh,
on going out on New Year's.
I mean, I will say this. It is like, yeah, there is that gimmick of like, oh, we got to do, you got to pay extra or whatever, and champagne popping daddy and all that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you this, like the bars can be a bummer, but a good house party on New Year's, bro, that's a time. And it even like that's one of the things I think extended into older, like when you got older is like when you were younger house party on New Year's, like it's a gimmick. Like maybe you hit the bars for a little bit, but I would much rather have done the house party gimmick on New Year's, right? And that was always fun and it was always a good time. But I think when you got older, you stopped the going out and you never went out anyways. But when you were older, like, okay, one time a year, I'll party, like big party blowout, and it's New Year's, because New Year's Day, you're sitting around, you're jerking off, you're watching football, you're ordering Chinese. Like that's the day, like it's a good recovery day the following day. So if you do go out and party, that's the time. But I'll say, have you Bern? Can I ask you this? Do you have a New Year's Eve party memory that's a good, like, any, like a good New Year's Eve party or New Year's Eve going out memory that you have? Do you have one of
I mean,
those?
I do have good New Year's Eve party memories, but most of those are associated with the party that I threw.
Mm,
So I didn't have to leave. I didn't have
mm.
to go anywhere. Another thing that's tough about New Year's is travel, right? Like cabs are dead. Uber and
Oh,
Lyft rule the world now. Uber and
yeah,
Lyft on a New Year's Eve is going to run
yeah,
you, 10 times the rate. And
true.
also, it is like one of the most dangerous nights to be out on the road because of said
Yeah.
amateurs driving around. So, like, now it's like even going to a party is cool. And let me make it very clear bar for New Year's, no fucking shit.
Mm,
House party for New Year's, okay. Like, that's that makes more sense to me. But then I gotta get home, man. And so I gotta get home.
yeah.
I don't want to drive myself. I'm paying $1 billion for a rideshare service, and I don't know if someone's gonna hop on the freeway going the wrong direction. So it's a
Uh,
tough night to be on the road, not even for yourself,
yeah.
but to have to worry about everybody else. So I don't
Damn.
know, man. The juice just ain't.
Yeah.
It hasn't been worth the squeeze to me in the last several years. You know?
Yeah. When you were younger, for sure. Like, well, back in the day, though, right?
I
Like
was the menace on the road.
right. Well, back in the day, though, the gimmick used to be we'd be in Manayunk, right? Like you could park at a house in Manayunk, you'd pregame, you'd hit the bar, then
Take a
postgame,
walk. Yeah,
right? And you'd walk down, walk back, no big deal. Maybe you ran into a fight here and there, but really wasn't much trouble, right? And most
not
people are
terrible.
are, are out to clown anyway, you know? But dude, I'll tell you, I remember one of my biggest regrets came on a New Year's Eve party. And it's a regret of the female kind, can we say?
What could have been?
Bern, I think about it all the time. I really do. Honestly, it was a mistake I made. I was thinking, I was honestly, it was a big mistake. It was an ego thing. So this is what happened, right?
Walk me through.
So this is back, let's say this is like 2012, 2013. I was fighting full time. I
Mm-hmm.
was bartending full time. So your boy was like fucking daddy was looking right. You know what I'm saying? And I was talking to like I was single at the time, and like I was still friends with like one of my exes from high school, right? We've had her on the show. Her name's Carly Myers. She's great, love her,
Oh,
right?
Carly's awesome.
And she had like I wasn't trying to like hook up with her, like I wasn't doing any of that. But like she was going to a party, and she was like, "Hey, you want to come over?" Because I was working that night, but like we were closing early, and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing? Do you want to hang?" She's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Okay." She's like, "Do you want to come over? We're having a party at this other person's house, which is another girl from high school, right? Who I kind of had a thing for in high school, right? But
Gotcha.
back in high school, Uncle Matty wasn't making that happen. You know what I'm saying? But we went to the house party and everything's cool and we're hanging out, right? But your boy, my game was fucking tight, daddy. Daddy's game
I
was
remember I
tight.
remember 2011, 2012 fight with full time Maddie. I remember listen, I know what you were doing back then, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna say he's not lying, folks. He had it, he had
I
it
was
locked.
doing.
He had it locked.
So I had a couple things though. Like I was definitely looking right, but I was also like had a lot of trauma and hate towards women because of the abuse I suffered when I was younger, as far as like, being a nice guy and being mistreated and
Hmm.
like being taken advantage of by women because I was like, starving for affection and things like that. So I was in the driver's seat now of like not the one wanting to
I'm
be
the
hooked,
captain now.
right? Like I'm the one that like they wanted to get with me, right? And I was loving it, right? So I was at this party. There was two girls there. One was the girl from high school that I always kind of had a thing for, that I kind of wanted to get the notch on my belt. And the other was this girl who I like kind of really hit it off with. Like one so beautiful, right? Like really good looking, and then she had like the body type I really liked, where she had like the nice legs and the ass, and she had like like she was looking good. Daddy was liking her.
Daddy
Also,
dude, daddy.
daddy diddy daddy duty, daddy was diddy and daddy on that. And also she was like from a really rich family too. I found out like really like I
Oh,
remember like my one friend said like, dude, it's intimidating how rich they are. That's how rich she was. I was like, really? And
come
she was just like
on.
cool, right?
Yeah, you didn't
And
get that vibe from
no, she was like a ski instructor or something or whatever. I don't know. I was like, well, that's a rich person job. But I was like, but she was just like, she wasn't like a snob about it. She was just like normal. And but I was like macking it pretty good, and I felt like both of them I had a chance, right? And then my ex came up to me. She's like, "Look, they both want a piece of the kid tonight, right?" I was like, "They're both sleeping here. If you go upstairs, you can hook up with the one, but I don't know if you sleep with her. But if you stay downstairs, you're definitely banging the one." And I was like, man, I was like,
Oh,
the ex
what a
playing ball
choice.
for me.
What a
But I was
choice.
like, dude,
Yeah.
the fact that you're like playing ball for me here, I was like, we're cool, right? Like, I dig you. Like, you're awesome. She took my virginity. It was great.
Oh, what a hero. What a
Yeah.
gal.
She was also part of the trauma, though. So she had some
Well,
making up to
sure.
do. You know what I
Sure,
mean?
sure, 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 sure.
But either way, so I went upstairs I was thinking a like get over and get one for me, the high school ego thing. And I
So
really like,
upstairs is the girl you dug from high school. Downstairs is the
yeah,
girl, the girl
the
you
rich
just
girl.
met and kind of hit it off. Okay.
Yeah. And dude, I look back on it. I should have stayed downstairs. One, I never sealed the deal with the one upstairs. We just like messed around and stuff and like,
Hmm.
did some
Hmm.
grabby, touchy, mouthy stuff.
Sure, sure.
And, but the one downstairs, one, she was a lot cooler. And like, I feel like too, like I really would have had a much better time. And like, I think something would have happened with the one downstairs, maybe more so. I don't know if it would have been marriage or something, but I feel like I would have had more of a relationship and a good time and like done things with the one downstairs as opposed to the one upstairs. And
Did Carly tell you that the one downstairs she thought was the sure thing?
she told me the one downstairs was pretty much a sure thing.
So you
And
passed up on the sure thing with the chemistry girl because you
yeah,
wanted to notch that belt. You were still
correct.
grinding that axe from high school.
Correct. It was the ego play and it was a
Yeah.
massive mistake. And I've always regretted it. And I think about that a lot of New Year's. Not anymore, but like, because I'm
No, no,
married. So
no, no,
my
no.
dick is like
Obviously not
useless.
anymore.
Yeah, obviously I don't think about it anymore. But
Did
yeah, so that was my New Year's thing. But I will say this, it was at a party, and that wouldn't have happened if I stayed home, and it was a fun party. So I don't know. I mean, that's the adventure, man. Like I do miss the adventure sometimes, right? Like when we would go out or party, like, yeah, it became mundane after a point because you did it so much and it was whatever, and we were weekend warriors, but we were also in the business, so we lived the adventure, right?
Mhm.
But like I do miss the adventure sometimes, Bern. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, you got to understand though. life changes and things change. Like I'm now single.
Yeah.
I'm now back in a situation where I can go adventure.
Yeah.
But a lot of the people back then who I would have wanted to adventure on are locked up.
Yeah.
So it's a much smaller adventure pool. And
Yeah.
it's a pool of people like me who are now, it's like, yeah, you can adventure, but like there's a ton of baggage. You know what I mean? Like I'm hitting the secondary. I'm like, hey, I'm divorced, you're divorced. I got kids, you got kids. This whole thing seems impossible anyway. Let's throw a bunch of X's and kids in there. So, like, the grass is not always green. Now, that being said, I'm going to go do some adventuring. I'm going to do some spelunking. I'm going to climb some mountains. And ain't nothing you can
Yeah.
do to stop me. Of
Dude, do you remember like, okay, do you ever go to a party and like case the joint where it's like you walk in
course.
and right away you're like, okay, who's single? Like I remember thinking this, like going in like, okay, who's single? I'm single, right? Look, who's on my radar for like doing stuff? And you kind of work your way around and eventually like make sure your paths cross and just you shoot your shot and see what happens, you know what I mean? Like, do you remember playing that game at the parties and stuff, right? Like being
I'm
young.
playing it now at the grocery store, dog. The only problem is like the field narrows pretty quick.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You're like,
yeah,
all right, there's 15 limit here. Two and a half, maybe. Maybe there's
yeah.
two and a half. And then from there, it's like, okay, well, no, no,
One of them has
maybe.
herpes.
Yeah. One of them you knew from high school. You're like,
Yeah,
oh, she is
yeah.
worse than me. You know?
Hmm.
So we are wait, hold on. We are Bern. Um
Yeah,
Another reason I like staying home for New Year's, right? And this is maybe it's because uh at a certain point you're like, do I actually want to change my life? Do I actually want to do I want to make a resolution? Do I want to like commit to something
yeah,
that's gonna like improve? And so I feel like staying home and like actually figuring out what I want to do for this year and how I'm going to move forward and how I'm going to improve myself. Like I don't need to get caught up in all the. I don't need to wait outside in the cold for an Uber. Like I want to really figure out, like, okay, here's where your life's going okay. Here's where your life's not going so great. What do we do? And like I feel like a nice reflective evening at home to really be like, all right, like this is the end of a year. How do I want tomorrow to start? I really enjoy not being hungover on New Year's Day. I always have people who are like, I'm making all these resolutions, but also I'm going to drink champagne for the only time this year. And I'm going to start off my new year feeling like absolute hammered shit. Because I got a little drunk and then I threw some champagne in there at the end, and my body was like, you
yeah,
don't drink this. What's going on? You're going to have the worst headache ever tomorrow. So I like the idea of starting my new year on like a I wake up feeling pretty good kind of note. And that's
yeah.
that's more of a stay homey vibe for me.
There's a superstition my mom always said that you need to eat pork and sauerkraut on New Year's
New
Day.
Year's Day every year,
Yeah,
correct? Same, same,
to have a lucky year, right? Do you remember
same
that?
thing. Yep. I mean, I still do it. Like my
Wow,
mom will always make pork and sauerkraut on New Year's
man, I think I need to start doing that. Maybe I won't have 20 stitches in my leg this year. Who knows?
Day. Hey, you might get them out. You know, you might get them out before the new year, or
God,
they
I
might
hope so,
dissolve, or
dude.
whatever the fuck happens to them in there. I have no
They are
idea.
on the
But
inside. But
yeah,
I desperately need these things out. I haven't been able to work out. I haven't been able to get on my bike. Like I'm feeling it, man. I'm done, dude. I'm done, you know? But okay. So we've deliberated enough. Are you ready to ask Alan?
you know, yeah. I think I pretty listen. In summation, I think I pretty much made my. It's
Yeah.
expensive. It's dangerous. It's diminishing returns, and I like waking up on New Year's Day and being, oh, the first day of a new year. I actually don't feel tired.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you say that, but I miss the rush. I miss the adventure. I miss, having the time of your life or meeting someone new or, going
It
out
is a
and
wild night. It is a wild night for sure.
anything can happen. It's an anything can happen night,
It sure
you
is.
know?
There's not a lot of
There's only a couple of those a year, but it's an anything can happen night on New Year's. Pretty weird, right?
Ask Alan.
All right, so I talked to AI, aka we use Gemini. I said, "Hello, Gemini. Can you please tell me if it is better to stay home on New Year's Eve or is it better to go to a party?" And then they said thus. They said, "Please consider these factors: your energy levels. Feeling burnout, staying in might be rejuvenating. Excited for a big bash, a party could be perfect." So it does have to do with your energy levels, right? Like we used to work a lot on New Year's Eve. You know what I mean?
A lot.
So
Yeah.
going out after is tough. When you were younger, no problem. When you got older, going out after working, you're like, absolutely not. There's no way you could pay me to go anywhere after work. What are you, nuts? And then social needs, right? If you're craving a connection or some camaraderie, that's what a party offers. But if you got some loved ones, staying home is the gimmick, right? And then
Agreed.
it says the moolah, daddy. Parties can get pricey. You know what I mean? You're hitting the town, you're buying here, you're buying there, you buy a girl a drink here, you waste your money buying it. That's what a waste of money that is. Buying a girl a drink, the biggest waste of money you will ever do is buying a girl a drink. Agreed, Bern?
Oh, I can't even imagine how much cash I set on. Just could have just set
Oh,
on fire
yes,
and gotten the
absolutely.
exact same result.
You would have been better lighting on fire and snorting the ashes than buying a girl a drink, dude.
I'd be better of lighting the
Absolutely.
cash on fire and then throwing the burning bill at the girl. Like she might have found me more
Yeah.
interesting. It would
Oh,
have at least been a
totally.
conversation piece.
Yeah, you would have a better chance of then buying her a drink. Could not agree more.
Correct.
So yeah. So it does say home celebrations are usually cheaper, but you get what you pay for. And then the ideal atmosphere, loud and exciting, relaxed or intimate. So, dude, I'll tell you this one thing, like, yeah, going to a party, going to a bar does seem like fun and it's an adventure. But one thing that is not appealing at all is I would not want to be in like Times Square, right? Like you couldn't pay me to go to Times Square on New Year's, dude. That
That
just
always
seems
seemed
like,
insane. People get there and they wait. They just stand
yeah,
outside in the cold for hours. People
yeah.
like piss their pants and stuff, like
Oh
just
yeah.
to stand there
Dude,
and
and
wait outside for hours.
pickpockets too. They said there's a ton of pickpockets and stuff. Like they say it's a mess, an absolute mess. They tell you like if you're staying at a hotel, like don't bring your wallet, bring one thing. It's your card to get into this hotel. Other than that, don't bring anything because they'll steal it right out of your
Wow.
pocket.
What an incredible night for pickpockets. I didn't even think of it.
Oh,
Incredible night for
if
pickpockets.
you're a pickpocket, that's the Super Bowl, daddy. Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then last thing it says on the consider the factors is transportation. So, like you said, I did like the park at a house and go walk down to wherever instead of like driving there and back. You're right. It is the cops, one, are looking for you, and two, it is danger, 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 danger. Will Robinson, right?
Yeah, and it's been really expensive to ride share.
Yeah, for sure. And then another thing it says reflect on past experiences. Did you regret going out last year? Maybe staying in is a better time, or do you got some FOMO, baby? Fear of missing out. For those who don't know what that means, little FOMO, watching others celebrate and having a good time. It then says thus. It says ultimately the choice is to go out and enjoy your life and not stay home and waste away like a noodle. That's what AI says. Exact words.
You're so full of shit, dude. You're so full of shit. Listen, well, like I said, I spent many years going out on one side of the bar. I spent many years out on the other side of the bar. At this point, for me, staying home is kind of the jam. Now, that being said, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do next year. I'm probably going to, I'll
Yeah.
have my kids, so I'll stay home. We'll do something with them.
All right, Bern. Here's a gimmick, though. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I threw a gimmick in there. You ready for a little gimmick?
Hit me with a gimmick.
I asked Gemini. I said, "Hello, Gemini. If you could pick a New Year's resolution, what would it be?" You excited?
Oh, I am excited.
Nice little fun little gimmick here, huh?
I need about 7 of them to get this
Yeah.
train back on the tracks.
How about it? Gemini said, that's a fun question. It's making me think about all the ways I can improve and grow. It says, if I were to choose a New Year's resolution, they said it would be to become an even better listener. They said, here's why. Deeper understanding.
Wow.
Gemini says, by truly listening to what people say, I can better understand their needs and provide more helpful and relevant responses. And then stronger connections. They said, good listening builds trust and strengthens relationships, whether it's with you, my users, or even the developers who are constantly improving me. And then continuous learning. They say every conversation is an opportunity to learn something new. By actively listening, I can expand my knowledge base and become more informed. Gemini says, I'm always working on improving my ability to understand and respond to your requests, but active listening is a skill that takes constant practice. This resolution would help me focus on that goal and become a more helpful and engaging AI companion. Wow.
Where the fuck were you a year ago, Gemini? That could have helped me out a little bit. But
Yeah,
all right,
how about
not a bad one to consider. Work on my listening skills.
So at the end, Bern, we're coming towards the top of time. What do you got for a final thought, Daddy?
Everybody be safe.
Yeah.
It's a weird night. It can be an incredible night. It can be a magical night. It's an exciting night, like Maddie said. It's an anything can happen night, but it's also an anything can happen. The last thing you want to do is be rolling into the new year with like a Dewey or missing a leg or so be careful. Just plan accordingly. Just make sure you have them figured out.
Safe.
Crash when you're crashing. Be safe. Make a decent resolution. My New Year's resolution personally is to have much more casual sex with people in their 20s and 30s. And by God,
that's my resolution as well for you.
Yeah.
I'm giving you my resolution so you can double that up. There you
double
go.
It up. Double it up.
Double it up, Daddy.
Double
it up. Swimming in the Pootananny, baby.
Thanks, Maddie. I appreciate that.
You got it, pal. You got it. Well, speaking of swimming in the Pootananny, this has been another episode of the Working Perspectives Podcast presents Ask AI. I'm Matt Lavelle. He's Bern Podcasty. And in case you're wondering, you can find all our stuff and all our content on all podcast platform and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You know us on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast. Join us on Twitter and TikTok at WorkingPPod. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workingperspectives@gmail.com. And please like and subscribe. And we'll keep bringing you this incredible content. Benoit Pahoud. Benoit Pahoud. Yeah, man, this is great. And if we don't talk to you, have a great new year, have a great holiday, and thank you so much. Please take back your algorithm, like, share, and subscribe. But we love you all. Thanks. See ya.
All right, thank you so much for making it to the end of the episode. I can't thank you enough for an amazing 2024. We've accomplished so much and made so many changes and done so much things that we couldn't have done it without you. Let's make a big 2025 coming up, and we need all your support to do it. Please remember to take back the algorithm, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, we love you. Thank you. See ya!